तो that's fine. So basically, today's class is on web security, like part two. In the last class, we have gone through couple of challenges of Natas, and I guess we have solved like first six challenges or five challenges, and now we are going to solve a couple of more. So, does anyone have solution like what was the answer of the last challenge? On where did we stop in the last class? So what we will be doing is, like, since we have to cover up couple of topics, so we'll be solving till Natas 10, and then we will be solving couple of more challenges with the SQL injection and cross-site scripting, so that I just don't miss the topics which I have already told in Web Security 1 and Web Security 2, because in Web Security 1 we were supposed to cover up the topic of SQL injection, but we couldn't because we had to go through the very basics. But since this is the last web security class, so we will be covering all these things a bit quickly. So let's do a recap of what we learned. Does anyone has any question from the last class? Anyone have any question? किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन है पिछले क्लास से? ओके, किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो फिर हाँ नो, हम लोग लास्ट 5 या फिर 6, ओके, आई थिंक बर्प. तो हम लोग अपना जो पुराना टूल्स है, बर्प सूट, उसे यूज़ करेंगे फिर से. Last time what we have done, we have configured burp to use on our web browser Firefox. Let's just not update it, and that is the reason why it's refusing the proxy server. So if you are getting this, a proxy server is refusing connection, it is probably because we have already configured our browser to use the proxy of localhost at port 8080, but we haven't started our burp. So now if I just try to start, you will see that yeah, now I'm getting some response. So yeah, I mean, now this one is working fine. So this is what we needed, right? Yes. Okay, so I don't really remember the solution, like the string, the password from the last time. Does anyone has any solution? Anyone have any solution from last time? If you have the solution, just paste that solution here. पिछले बार हम लोगों ने कहाँ तक चैलेंजेस सॉल्व किया था, किसी को कुछ याद है? किसी को कुछ याद है? शायद नहीं याद है. तो एक काम करते हैं हम लोग, क्विकली वापस से पहले चार पांच ही ये थे चैलेंजेस थे, उसको हम लोग क्विकली सॉल्व करते हैं और इस बार हिंदी में सॉल्व करते हैं, ताकि कुछ कुछ स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिनको इंग्लिश ठीक से समझ में नहीं आ रही है, तो मैं उनके लिए हिंदी में वापस से नताश का सॉल्यूशन सॉल्व कर देता हूँ. और जिससे कि हम लोग और ये एक वीडियो भी हिंदी में अवेलेबल हो जाएगी, कुछ पार्ट. और फिर जब हम लोग आगे का सॉल्यूशन करेंगे, तो फिर हम लोग वापस से जैसे हम लोग सॉल्यूशन कर रहे थे वैसे करेंगे. तो हम लोग नताश जीरो पे थे. नताश जीरो, स्टार्ट फ्रॉम नताश जीरो. ठीक है, नताश जीरो बेसिकली बहुत ही इजी सॉल्यूशन था, जिसमें हम लोग सिर्फ व्यू पेज सोर्स कर लिए थे, और यहाँ पर हम लोग को पासवर्ड नताश वन का दिख गया था. फिर हम लोग नताश वन को सॉल्यूशन के लिए नताश वन पे हम लोग क्लिक करेंगे, और ये दे रहा है कि यू कैन फाइंड द पासवर्ड फॉर द नेक्स्ट लेवल ऑन दिस पेज. बट राइट क्लिक जो है ये ब्लॉक है। तो हम लोग के लिए इसका इजी सॉल्यूशन था कि हम लोग F12 दबा दें। F12 दबाने के बाद अगर आप देखोगे तो यहाँ पर हम लोग को इसका सॉल्यूशन मिल गया। अब हम लोग जाते हैं नताश 2 में। ये बोल रहा है कि देयर इज नथिंग ऑन दिस पेज, राइट। तो व्यू सोर्स पेज कर देते हैं। और यहाँ पर हम लोग को दिख रहा है कि ये एक फाइल्स है, ठीक है, जहाँ पर हम लोग को pixel.png है, राइट। तो अगर हम लोग देखेंगे ये pixel.png फाइल है, लेकिन ये इतना छोटा सा फाइल है जिसका कोई मतलब नहीं बनता है। तो हम लोग डिफरेंट डायरेक्टरीज देखेंगे। तो ये जो स्ट्रक्चर दिया हुआ है, ये स्ट्रक्चर दिया हुआ है कि भाई ये वेबसाइट एनीवे डोमेन डोमेन का नाम है, और उसके बाद उस फोल्डर में एक फाइल्स करके एक फोल्डर है, उस फाइल्स फोल्डर के अंदर में ये इमेज डाला हुआ है, और वहाँ से ये रिसोर्स फेच करके हम लोगों को ये इमेज दिखा रहा है। तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि हम लोग एनीवे हम लोग सिर्फ फाइल्स फोल्डर को ब्राउज करते हैं। सॉरी, ये मेरे पास ठीक है। चलिए नताश 2 का में फोल्डर को ब्राउज करते हैं। फोल्डर को ब्राउज करने के बाद हम लोग को नताश 3 का पासवर्ड मिल जाता है। फिर नताश 3, फिर इसने बोला कि इस पेज में कुछ नहीं है। अब है कि इस पर गूगल भी फाइंड नहीं कर सकता है। तो हम लोगों ने लास्ट क्लास में डिस्कस किया था कि एक जो जो गूगल की जो वेब क्रॉलर होती है, वो क्या करती है कि जब भी आप कोई वेबसाइट बनाते हो और गूगल में आप सबमिट करते हो, तो वो ना हर एक पेजेस को उस वेबसाइट में आई, उस वेबसाइट में जो लिंक है उन सारे लिंक में जाके वो हर एक पेजेस को क्रॉल कर रही होती है, ठीक है। तो अगर आप चाहते हो कि आपके पास कोई वेबसाइट का एक लिंक है जो आप नहीं चाहते हो कि गूगल उसे क्रॉल करे, यानी गूगल अपने सर्च हिस्ट्री में उसको ना दिखाए, तो उसके लिए क्या करते हैं कि हम लोग robots.txt फाइल को बना देते हैं। तो robots.txt फाइल में हम जो भी अगर जैसे हम लोग यूज़र एजेंट डिस अलाउ करके हम लोग अगर लिख देते हैं ये फोल्डर, इसका मतलब क्या है कि जब भी गूगल का क्रॉलर स्टार्ट करता है तो वो सबसे पहले robots.txt में जाता है, और वो देखता है कि भाई कौन कौन सा फोल्डर है जिसको मेरे को रीड नहीं करना है, क्रॉल नहीं करनी है। तो फिर वो आया, वो बोला कि भाई इस फाइल को फोल्डर को मेरे को क्रॉल नहीं करनी है, और वो उस फोल्डर को छोड़कर वो सारा क्रॉल करता है। तो एनीवे तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, इस फोल्डर को हम लोग क्रॉल कर लेते हैं। ये बार बार ऑथेंटिकेशन मांग रहा है। एनीवे कोई बात नहीं, हम लोग वैसे भी नताश 3 का तो पासवर्ड हम लोग खोल के रखे ही हैं, और हमें नताश 3 की पासवर्ड नताश 4 की पासवर्ड हम लोग को मिल जाती है। अब हम लोग अगला नताश 4 पे चले आते हैं। नताश 4, और अब है कि इस वाले चैलेंजेस में क्या है कि एक्सेस डिसअलाउड, यू आर विजिटिंग फ्रॉम कोलॉन सेमी कोलॉन दिस कोड्स वाइल ऑथराइज, मतलब एम्प्टी किसी एक एम्प्टी ऑथराइजेशन से हम हेडर से हम लोग इस पेज को देख रहे हैं, वाइल ऑथराइज यूजर शुड कम फ्रॉम दिस, ठीक है। तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग अपना बर्ब सूट एक्टिवेट किए और इस पेज को रिफ्रेश किए। पेज को रिफ्रेश करने के बाद हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि इसमें क्या क्या पैरामीटर आ रही है, ठीक है ना। तो हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि अभी रेफरर है, यहाँ पर मेंशन किया हुआ कि रेफरर क्या है। अगर हम इस रेफरर को फॉरवर्ड करते हैं तो रेफरर को फॉरवर्ड करने के बाद देखते हैं कि क्या हो रहा है। तो ये यहाँ पर नताश 4 हो गया। अगर हम वापस से इसको ट्राई करके देखते हैं कि क्या रेफरर का जो हेडर है, हेड है, इसको अगर हम लोग कुछ चेंजेस कर दिए, जैसे यहाँ पर नताश 3 कर दिए फॉर एग्जाम्पल, और इसको लिए, तो यहाँ पर भी हम लोग का हेडर चेंज हो जा रहा है। तो हम लोग इसको क्या करते हैं कि हम लोग को अब चाहिए क्या कि ये नताश 5 से जाए, है ना। हम लोग नताश 5 से गए, लेकिन ये फिर भी हम लोग को ऑथराइज नहीं दिया। क्यों? क्योंकि हम लोग का जो ये जो स्ट्रिंग है, इस स्ट्रिंग में हम लोग का index.php लगा हुआ है, जबकि हम लोग की जो रिक्वायरमेंट है उसमें index.php नहीं होनी चाहिए। तो हम लोग का इसका सिंपल सॉल्यूशन है कि हम लोग की जो स्ट्रिंग है इसमें से हम लोग ये हटा देते हैं। ओके, हम लोग एक क्रॉस चेक कर लेते हैं, लास्ट में स्लैश है, हाँ सॉरी, नताश 5 का नाम मैं भूल गया था। एनीवे और ये जैसे हम लोगों ने किया तो ये हम लोग नताश 5 पे आ गए। अब हम लोग नताश 5 में जाते हैं, लॉगिन करते हैं। ओके, लास्ट टाइम मैंने ये लास्ट में एक स्पेस जो है वो कॉपी हो गया था। जैसे इस अगर आप इसको ऐसे कॉपी करोगे इस पूरे लाइन को, तो लास्ट में एक ब्लैंक स्पेस, एम्प्टी स्पेस कॉपी हो जा रही है, जिसके कारण से ये आपका पासवर्ड गलत बताएगा। तो आपको वो जब कॉपी करने के टाइम पे ये चीज़ें थोड़ी सी ध्यान देके रखनी होगी कि आप एम्प्टी चीज़ों को कॉपी ना करो, ठीक है। उसके बाद हम लोग अब क्या करते हैं, अब हम लोग नताश ओके, ये आई गेस ओके, ये लगता है हम लोग की लास्ट टाइम की चैलेंज है, जिसमें जो हम लोगों ने ऑलरेडी सॉल्व कर लिया था क्या। तो एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम क्या हो रही है ना कि मेरे कैश में ये जो ब्राउज़र है, ब्राउज़र के कैश में काफ़ी सारे चैलेंजेस सॉल्व होके ऑलरेडी है। जैसे लास्ट टाइम हम लोगों ने सॉल्व किया था, तो काफ़ी चीज़ों का सॉल्यूशन आपको ऑलरेडी यहाँ पर मिल जाएगा, ठीक है। तो ये प्रॉब्लम है, मैं इसे एक काम करता हूँ, मैं इंटरसेप्ट ऑन करता हूँ और फिर मैं इसे देखता हूँ, ठीक है। अब देखिए इस चैलेंज में क्या था कि जो बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट इस चैलेंज में हो क्या रही थी, वो हो ये रही थी कि हम लोग पहले हम लोग जब लॉगिन करते थे नताश 5 में, तो हम लोग को डिसअलाउड यू आर नॉट लॉग्ड इन लिखा आता था। उसका रीज़न ये था कि हम लोग को जो कुकीज़ में जो ये एक फ्लैग है लॉग्ड इन, इसकी जो वैल्यू थी वो ज़ीरो थी। इसका मतलब ये ऑफ था। हम लोग इसको 1 कर दिए और उसके बाद हम लोग को ट्रैफिक को भेज दिए, इससे कि हम लोग अगले चैलेंज में हम लोग इंटर कर जाते हैं। चलिए नताश 6 में भी हम लोग इंटर कर गए। ये आई गेस हम लोग की लास्ट चैलेंज थी। लेट्स सी। सॉरी, ओके, ये फिलहाल से मैं बंद कर दूँ। नताश 6, अब हम लोग नताश 6 में आते हैं, ठीक है। तो नताश 6 में क्या हो रही है कि हम लोग को व्यू सोर्स कोड देखते हैं, पहले देखते हैं कि क्या होता है। रॉन्ग सीक्रेट, अब हम लोग यहाँ जाके देखते हैं। तो ये जो ये सोर्स कोड ऑलरेडी इन लोगों ने सोर्स कोड ऑलरेडी दिया हुआ है, तो इस सोर्स कोड को हम पढ़ते हैं। तो ये तो इतनी तो सारी HTML टैग्स है, जिसका कोई मतलब जो हम लोग देख रहे हैं यहाँ पर, ये सिर्फ चीज़ें वही लिखी हुई है, ये सारी सारी की सारी चीज़ें। जो नहीं दिख रही है वो है ये PHP का कोड, यानी बैकएंड का कोड। अब इस बैकएंड का कोड को हम लोग पढ़ने का ट्राई करते हैं, तो इसमें क्या है कि ये एक इंक्लूड है, ये इसका मतलब ये इस इंक्लूड फोल्डर का नाम है secret.inc करके फाइल है, जिस फाइल को ये इंक्लूड कर रहा है अपने नताश इस फोल्डर में, इस पर्टिकुलर फाइल में। तो आई गेस ये index.php फाइल होगा या फिर जो भी फाइल होगी उसमें ये इंक्लूड कर रहा है, और फिर ये अपना 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 कुछ कुछ ये कर रहा है। तो पहले तो हम लोग ये जाके देखते हैं कि इस फोल्डर में, इस फाइल के अंदर में ये कंटेंट क्या है। सिंपल सा प्रोसेस है, हम लोग जाके देखते हैं कि इस फाइल में, ये तो एम्प्टी फाइल देख रहा है। चलिए देखते हैं कि सीक्रेट, ओके, यहाँ पर हम लोगों को कुछ कंटेंट दिखा। ओके, अब ये जो दिख रहा है ये है इसका वैल्यू, जो सीक्रेट करके जो वेरिएबल है इसकी वैल्यू यहाँ पर दी हुई है। और अगर हम लोग यहाँ पर आते हैं, इसमें ऑलरेडी दिया हुआ है जो, अगर सीक्रेट का जो वेरिएबल में वैल्यू जो भी हम लोग डाल रहे हैं वो, और ये जो वेरिएबल है ये वैल्यू, ये दोनों इक्वल टू है, मतलब यानी बराबर है, तो फिर हम लोग को एक्सेस ग्रांटेड दिया जा रहा है। इसका मतलब हम लोग को ये अगर वैल्यू पता होती तो हम लोग इंटर कर पाते, और इसके अलावा कुछ भी वैल्यू डालेंगे, ठीक है, तो वो इंटर नहीं करने हम लोग को देगा। तो हम लोग के पास अब वैल्यू पता हो गई है, तो हम लोग ये वैल्यू इंटर कर लेते हैं और फिर हम लोगों को अगले चैलेंज का पासवर्ड मिल जाता है। चलिए, तो आई गेस ये हम लोगों ने लास्ट टाइम यहाँ तक सॉल्व की थी। इस बार हम लोग इसके आगे बढ़ते हैं। अभी तक किसी को भी कोई क्वेश्चन सो फार? किसी को भी कोई क्वेश्चन? ओके ओके, पूर्वा ने ऑलरेडी दे दिया था। थैंक यू पूर्वा। पर चलिए कोई बात नहीं, हम लोगों ने वापस से सारा का सारा विद इन 5 मिनट्स में हम लोगों ने सारा का सारा सॉल्व कर दिया है। तो किसी को और कोई क्वेश्चन अभी तक फिलहाल कोई क्वेश्चन? कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो आप नो भी टाइप कर सकते हो, तो मैं थोड़ा सा कंफर्म हो जाता हूँ कि आप लोग के पास किसी के पास कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है, तो मैं आगे बढ़ूँ। ओके, Boreddy has raised hand. Yeah, Boreddy.
Bootstrap any other
Sorry,
sites?
sorry.
Bootstrap in any other sites like Facebook?
I cannot hear you properly. Your voice is breaking.
Now is it okay, sir?
Yeah, it's much better.
Is it legal to use Bootstrap in any other sites like Facebook?
Web scraping or bootstrapping? Bootstrapping does not mean anything. Bootstrapping is like starting from scratch. Okay, or if you go in a programming language, then there we have a a framework called Bootstrap. But if you want to, if do you mean like web scraping? Can you just elaborate your question a bit?
Burp suit, sir.
Burp suit, yeah. What do you want to do with burp suit?
Is it legal to use in any other site like Facebook or?
Yeah. You actually, I will tell you, like, the actual scenario of security professionals. So if you are a security professionals, and I have worked with a couple of companies as as security professionals, and we actually use burp suit a lot. So apart from burp suit, there are a couple of other tools available as well, like Zap is there. Yeah, WebGoat is there. But burp is a very powerful tool, and we do use. And if you see that a lot of bug hunters, they are getting thousand and thousand of dollars for finding vulnerabilities, so they do this manual processes, and they definitely use burp suit. So yeah, I mean, burp is something that almost everyone uses, and it's fairly legal. But the thing which is illegal is, if you are, for example, if you are using burp and you manage to perform a successful attack. Now, if you, with this attack, if you are deciding in, just exploiting that system, it is illegal. Any more question you have, Surendra?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then in that case, let's proceed with, and also like Deepak is there, Adinath is there, Purva is there, Kishore is there. So if anyone has any question, feel free to raise your hand. I'll give you the mic access. You guys can speak on. You can ask the question as well. Anyway, let's actually move on to the next challenge. So we are in Natas 7. Okay, right? So now let's see what happens in Natas 7. So I click on home. This is our front page. Fine. This looks like a about page. Okay, this looks fine. This looks like a simple, what do I say, like a simple page. Now they said that, okay, hint is there. Password for web user Natas 8 is in this folder. Now, if you see, okay, I'm not sure how many of you are web developer, but if you are not a web developer, or if you have not made website, or if you have not hosted the website, then you might want to know how the structure is actually working. So let me quickly show on my computer. For example, if my computer was, you know, kind of the server, so how it would have been done. Okay, so how the websites are basically hosted. First, you need a web server. So web server are basically which will keep your website online for the entire duration. And web server is nothing, again, it's a kind of a, you are hosting, you create an instance, a cloud instance on AWS, you have E2E networks, you have Google Cloud, you have a lot of other website. So you create an instance, and then in the instance you configure and you can install any web server. Either you can install Apache or Jinx, Jinx, Nginx, sorry. So there are two basically, most used web server. So it actually depends upon you what do you really want. Most of the website, like the old websites and even all these entire system, they are actually made on PHP. So for PHP it's advisable, and most of the developers they actually tend to use Apache rather than Nginx. And if you are kind of a mean stack or MERN stack, then you go for the Nginx. Obviously Nginx is almost 6 times faster than Apache. Okay, when we compare the performance, but then again the response time is so slow, so small, that even this 6 times doesn't really mean to us. For example, if you're opening a web page and the web server respond in, for example, 0.2 second, right? And Apache server, and if you're opening it Nginx, the server responds in 0.03 second, for example, like 0.03 or 0.04, almost 1/6 time. Now, for a human, 0.2 or 0.04, it doesn't really matter, right? Because it's a fraction of second. So yeah, in that, when we compare on that perspective, so obviously we say that Nginx is much better efficient, but then again, it doesn't really matter if you're not hosting some crazy big project like we have on findmementor.com, like these video calling features are there. So for us, we have hosted on Nginx. Anyway, so yeah, that's more or less how it is. So let me tell you, like when you create an instance, you install, for example, Apache. Now when you install Apache, this particular folder gets activated. And then let me just okay. So now if I just so what I did is restarted I started my Apache server. So I have already installed Apache 2 server. It's very easy to install. And then after installing, you can use this command to restart the Apache server. Once you start the Apache server, so by default, it goes to this particular folder. It has been configured for var.html. Okay, and in that particular folder, it is opening this index.html. So now if we create one more file like index1.html, sorry, and write hey, hi, okay, and then we try to open this index1.html, you can see that we are able to open our website. So yeah, localhost is again something very similar to what. So if you are hosting it on your on your local machine, you will open localhost. If you are hosting it on on a web server and you have configured your domain, then maybe xyz.com/index1.html we could have been opening it. So it's more or less how it is like that. Anyway, let's go back here and see the structure. So for example, we have a folder called dvwa. Now if we try to open dvwa, what actually happens? So you see, these are the things which are actually happening in dvwa. So inside the dvwa, there is if you go inside dvwa, we can see we have setup.php. I'm pretty sure we must be having setup.php somewhere right here. So yeah, so this is how going through the folder actually means. Anyway, let's go back here. So I just wanted to show you, how um, the folder structure looks like. In the similar fashion, if we go back here, so it is saying that the password is stored in this particular folder. Even even on our machine we have this etc folder, and then there are a couple of more there are a couple of folders there. So inside, obviously this is a web server where they are hosting the website. Inside this etc folder they must have created this web pass, natas web pass folder, and inside that folder there must be a file called natas 8, and inside that file all the content, all the password must be there. So let's go back and try to see and this file. But the thing is, how can we go and see this file from our browser, right? Now the thing is, what is actually happening here? If we are clicking home, it's saying page is equal to home, right? So that means some query is being passed here, right? Some query is being passed here. Let's see if we can pass some query from our end. So you see, now we are able to pass the query from our end, which is to view this particular folder, sorry, this particular file, and it is showing me the content of this file. So this way we managed to solve Natas 8. So from here, the challenges are going to be a bit difficult. Okay, just 1 minute. So feel free to ask. If, whenever you guys have any question, just feel free to ask. So let's move on to Natas 8 and let's see what it says. Okay, again it's like, I think like we have solved this the secret challenge once again. We have to solve the secret challenge once again. Let's go and find out what is this. Okay, the source code. Let's try to read the source code. Let me just close the other tabs. So if I see, they have said that the secret is already encoded. Okay, and how this work and the encoded function, how does it work is that it takes the value of secret, it returns bin to hex. The bin to hex means binary to hexadecimal. So it takes the content, it converts that the binary content to hexadecimal content. There is a string reverse. String reverse is like if the string is abc, then if you use this function is strrev, then the output will be cba. Then we also have one more function called base64 encode, which actually is encoding the entire string into base64, and then we are finally getting a secret. Now, so this is how it works. But if you read in a line by line way, like how what is executed first, because we can see there are three different functions, right? What is executed first? So first it takes the secret, it passes the secret inside this particular folder, base64 encode. So first it takes, let's say the secret is abcdef. It takes the secret, it does the base 64 of that, of abcdef, it gets a long string, then it does the reverse of string reverse of that string, so all the string is getting reversed, and then it finally does this, then whatever the content that the string that you are getting, it converts that into the hexadecimal format. Okay, so yeah, so that's more or less how it is. So what we are supposed to do is we just have to suppose the order into in a reverse way. So now we have a final string. We first will do hex to bin, then get the output, then do string reverse again, make it a straight. We'll then do a base 64 decode, and then I hope we can find this secret. Now, if you are a coder, like let's suppose if you are a coder, you can actually use Python to solve all these, to do all these things. But I assume couple of you might not be into coding. So for you, even for you guys can still solve this challenge. All you have to do is just do some Google. Okay, let me just hex to bin. Okay, I think like okay, let's try with whatever we have. Let's try with. So this is the encoded string, right? Let's just paste string. Try to run it. Okay, so we are getting this, right? So we got this value. Now let's do. Okay, again let's go back here. Fine. We have this string reverse as well. Now the last one was to do a base 64 decode. Let's search for base 64 decode online. There are a lot of websites. You paste them. Okay, let's do the decode. Okay, so finally we managed to get some output. Let's go back here and try and see if this one is out. Yeah, access granted, and somehow we managed to solve the challenge. So sometimes even if if the source code is already given in, which was in this particular case, you need to go and understand the logic behind the source code. What is it? Looks very difficult in the first place because there are a lot of codes written, and a lot of people get confused or get terrified. Oh wow, this there are so many code. But actually, if you see, the things which we really needed, what was this part of the code. Okay, so that's more or less for this challenge. Any questions so far on the of this challenge? Okay, Sven, do you have any question? Okay, then let's go back and solve the next one. Task 9. Oh, just 1 minute. Okay, so for this challenge, let's say find words containing. Okay, um, so we did it, and the output is like, okay, so it's basically finding out words which is there. Let's, if you want, you can just go again ahead, and you can read these that the source file as well. But remember, this is these source file are actually for for, because we are learning it, right? So it has been provided. But when you are doing these things on a live website, or any for bug hunting or whatever purpose you want to do it, you are not going to get this source code. If you would be very very lucky if you somehow manage to get this source code, right? So exposing of source code is again a dangerous thing, but if you somehow get the source code, you can understand the logic what they have put, and then you can find out some way where you can where you can see what can be done. Anyway, so let's let's go and read this the source code as well. So it says that key values empty, needle exist, needle request. and then it requests. So it has the pass-through function of PHP. Okay, it does the grep function. So grep is basically, to get the content. Like, let me just show you what grep does. Uh, so for example, uh, nano test2.txt, and let's just, so just gonna show you a couple of, what grep does is. So grep is one of the command, one of the very, one of the command of Linux which is used a lot. So let me just probably this. Okay. Okay. So you see, this is the content of test.txt, right? Now, if I just use grep and if I just see Venus, okay, it will actually try. Let me find out the Venus. Obviously, this is like, this is not a big uh, page, but if it was a big one, it would have, identified Venus from all of them, like the lines consisting of Venus. But in this particular case, it's just one paragraph, so yeah, it's just giving me the output of the entire thing. uh okay, so I guess that's with the grep function. So it's doing like, it's taking the value, and then it is grep dollar key. So dollar is, I guess, whatever the function, whatever the value that we are entering is key, and then it's trying to find out in the dictionary.txt file. Let's do one thing. Let's say, okay, let's do one thing. If we say hi, then the query becomes something like this. This is the query that they are running. Okay, grep hi, okay, and find that into the dictionary.txt. So basically, minus I flag is actually for forgetting about the case. Otherwise, it can be a case sensitive as well. But here we are not case sensitive. So they don't want to be, a kind of a case sensitive. So they have just added a flag called minus I. But if you, so basically, this is the command that they're running. Now, if you know Linux, if you have worked in Linux, you know that, you can actually use various tools, not tools like, concatenation of different commands, and then try to find out, the values. So for that, if I use this means that command has ended and I am supposed to run something else, right? I can just write, ls. So that means it is, it's just gonna do ls, and then if I just write hash, it means that command is over. Let's try to play with something. Okay, this and ls. Let's see what happens. So basically, it is, this hash makes sure that, whatever is after that, it's not it does not it should not work. So when I do that, it is actually showing me what are the files stored in that particular directory. So it's like, dictionary.txt file is there, index source.html file is there, we have index.php file is there, and then, all these files are there. Anyway, so yeah, so more or less these are the files which are there. So what we can do is, we already know from the previous challenges that there is a um, file in the inside the etc folder, web pass it was, and natas 10, right? So for natas 10 we can just do this. uh, or if you are not sure about what we have, Okay. So basically what I did was I omitted this. Okay, whatever, let's say hi ls. If you want, I can just go on Natas web pass and then try to see what it shows. So it shows all these files basically. Now we wanted to have the password of the specific ones, right? And we wanted to have the password of Natas 10, right? So we just, all we had to do was we just had to read that particular file. Natas 10 and hash. All right, let me just go. Sorry, my bad. It's Natas underscore webpass. Yeah. So finally, we got the the solution of Natas 9. Let's go to Natas 10 and try to see the password. Natas. Okay. So find words containing. Again, it looks like the previous challenge itself. Okay. Uh, Again, I think let's go and see the source code again. Now in this case it has said there is like input contains an illegal character. So basically if we are going to use all these characters, they are actually, we cannot basically use this character, so they have protected us to use characters like this. Yeah, input contains an illegal character, so basically we cannot use the similar trick that we were playing here, right? Sorry. Okay, 1 minute. We cannot basically use the the trick which we tried before. Now there is another trick. Now let's see, like what are the characters they have. Okay, so slash dash is there, braces are there, colon is there, we have single pipe, and all these commands are there. Anyway, so all these commands are, we cannot use it, but then we can use, what we can do is we can try to print everything, whatever is there. Let's print everything and let's see if we can so printing everything just need this dot star, and then we can do it etc matas. Then again we know, already know, you know and then we just add hash and the end. So you see it's printing everything that is there on that particular folder. So yeah, st access file is trying to print, okay, whatever the printing. St password fantas 10 was the encrypted one, and then it's trying to print natas 11 and its password. Let's try to see natas 11 if we can log in through this. Fine. So right now what we did, we solved this. These are called the command line injection attacks. So basically we were running our commands, and on the search result or whatever the input field they have, all this linux command, and so basically these were the injections that we were doing and getting the juicy informations out. So yeah, so was command line injection. So now we can keep on solving all these challenges, but for the sake of time, let's stick to the challenges which we haven't solved. So let's go and see one small challenge of sql injection, and then we'll see another challenge on cross-site scripting. Okay, because these are the two topics which we haven't covered so far and we really need to solve it. So let's, I think for sql injection, there is Natas 14. Let's go there and try to. Okay, okay. So Natas, finally for Natas 14, we have the you know. So understanding the SQL injection. Okay. May I know like how many of you know what is SQL? SQL. Does anyone know what is SQL? Anyone? Okay. No idea about SQL. Okay, fine. Anyone else who knows what is SQL? Okay. Okay. Seems like most of you don't know what is SQL. So let me just give you a quick, background about SQL. What is SQL basically? You remember, if you remember in the last session, I talked about how the website is made. We have the front end, we have the back end, and then we have what? We have the database. Now database can be of two kinds, which is like SQL, okay, and without SQL. So SQL is basically a structured query language where all the data, all the content of the data, all the whatever things you are trying to save, it is saved in the form of rows and columns. So basically, if you can understand it like in a way kind of a Excel sheet. In an Excel sheet, you have what? Rows, and then you have like what? Columns, right? So in column section you can have like username, password, and all this kind of thing. And in the row section you can have the name of the user, what is the email address, what is the password that you have stored. So this is how you can keep on writing, right? So in the similar fashion, if you come here on our end, in SQL, it is somehow stored in that particular fashion. It is stored in columns and rows. On columns there are a couple of sections, on rows there are a couple of sections. So how do we get those content out of it? So we actually run couple of SQL queries. So if you see what is the query in this particular example, it is select star means all from the table called users, where username is supposed to be whatever username is supposed to be, whatever we are going to enter from here, and then the password, whatever we are going to enter it here, and then and then it is going to request the password. Fine. And after executing the query, it will say if the username password is correct, it will say successful login. If not, it's a access denied. Let's go and try to find out username and password. Let's try to. Okay, fine. So I typed hi, and it was actually not working out. So yeah, let's try with some different password, and those things are not actually working. Why it's happening is, okay, let me just switch on the burp again. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so this is how the things look like. When we are running a command, you can see that username is hi and password is hello. So basically this is a request which is being made to the web server, and on the request it is saying that username is hi and password is hello. Anyway, so this is more or less how things are working. So what we can, so there are a couple of things that we can do it here. Either we can proceed manually and keep on you know do an injection attack here, or what we can do is we can take it to the repeater. So there is another thing called send to repeater, and on the repeater we can send it, we can see the response, right? So obviously those response are supposed to be on the HTML code. Access denied. We can again change the password here. So I'm doing this, I'm just using repeater so that you guys know that there is something called repeater in the burp suite, and couple of time you might would need to use this. Now coming back here on our challenge basically. Okay, so if you see that what we are doing here, we are typing some username, we are typing some password, and then it's working out, right? Now we go back to the source code, we see okay, username is something, password is something, right? So this is how it is working. So what we can do is we can type an escape request, escape sequence. What it will be doing is it will actually stop that code there, so it will consider this particular query as one, and we can type something else. So for example, if we go back to our very basic, okay, let's try to, we know there are a couple of things, or and operations, right? Not operation, we have not operation, we have XOR operations. I'm not sure how many of you have seen these operations. Can you tell me, like, do you guys know these operations? Or and we have, like, these are the, if you are from electronics background, you might have okay, yeah, fine. So Board, you can tell me, like, what does this OR operation means? So if I do one or one, what would be the output? Good. And if I do one and 0, what would be the output? For Purva, for 1 is actually correct for the OR operation, but for the AND operation it is wrong. Board is right. So it's supposed to be 0. Now let's say 1 or 1, right? We already know 1 or 1 is what? So if we do this, is it true or false? Is this statement true or false? True, right? Right. Very correct. So what we can do is, if we somehow say, okay, fine, you have some username is blah, and so this is how they are searching, right? Password is blah, and then we say, or obviously if we use this, is this entire statement correct, is true or false? True. Very correct, very correct. But if in the entire, if you see in the you know in the web structure, what actually is happening is, if you type this, it actually tries to read what is the username. So it will see, okay, username is blah, and if the password of blah username is blah, if it's a wrong password, then it will output you as a wrong password, right? But if we try this, so no matter what content we have here, it will, this entire statement would be true, and then we will be able to log in, right? Here the statement is false, so we are not able to log in. Let's try to do the same thing here. Okay, so let's try here, and what we can do is, let's try the username as I don't know, there are a couple of ways we can do it. Either we can just, we can actually change this here, we can add at the end, or even we can just use username on something like, just like one, sorry, or 1 equal to 1. Fine. So what happens here? Let's see. Okay, so what is actually happening here? What is happening here is that when we are writing this sequence, right, when we are writing this sequence, it is actually stopping, it is saying that, okay, so this structure, this query is done, this first query is done. Then we have this 1 equal to 1, which is like a true statement, right? And then once we run this true statement, this is since this is a true statement, so it says that, okay, fine, now you can just log in. So now you, when we, since the entire statement is true, now we somehow managed to log in. So finally we just managed to log in. Let's just, fine. So now we, okay, I'm not sure, like, okay, so we have this, we have this. So now this is like for the SQL injection challenge. Okay, so so we somehow managed to solve this challenge. Now let's move. I, since it's already, it has been almost an hour. Let's just finalize, um, let's just finalize with the cross-site scripting, and we'll be mostly covering up all the web security challenges. Yeah, kind of like, we have couple of challenges more, and couple of more attacks that is there, but those things are actually mentioned on the, if you are into nano degree program, cybersecurity nano degree program, you can, see and perform all those attacks there. Anyway, so let's go back here and try to see what cross-site scripting attacks are. I am just limiting all my attacks, just to the, what do I say, kind, in, not in a theoretical way, but in more practical way, because I want you guys to do a hands-on rather than obviously have the idea of what is going on in the game, but of, in the game, and also in terms of logic. But at the same time, I also want you guys to understand and practice more and more, rather than focusing on the theoretical part. Anyway, so what is cross-site scripting attack? So basically, cross-site scripting attack um, is on the client side. Okay, so if you are performing a client side attack, you will be getting this, you can perform these attacks. So mostly the cross-site scripting attacks happen from the input field. If you have some input field, or any query is being passed, and it happens there. So if you, the most easy way to check if the cross-site scripting attack is possible or not, is to pop up something, right? If you manage to write some JavaScript code, and if you manage to pop up something, then you get a cross-site scripting attack. The most easy one is like, this. You can actually keep on writing this. So alert, we can have like, I don't know, you can have anything. Okay, so this is a very simple cross-site scripting attack, which will pop up something, and it will say one. Okay, why does cross-site scripting attack happens? It is again a long discussion. Obviously, since the time is less, so what I'm gonna do is I am gonna share one video with you guys on more detailed understanding of cross-site scripting attack. But since I want you guys to solve a couple of challenges and how those challenges are getting solved, so I'm just skipping that particular part of the explanation. So yeah, so if I just manage this one, guys. um, okay, let's see if this works. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, so yeah, it actually depends from browser to browser. So sometimes browser to browser, and sometimes the way you type it. So I have mistyped the So yeah, this is the correct, right? So if I just type this, it managed to it actually popped me up one and it says, so if I just type like XSS, it will congratulations, you executed an alert which is cross-site scripting XSS. So your whole idea is to pop up something. Okay, if you manage to pop up something, obviously with JavaScript you can do a lot of things. Maybe I can just change the color of the page. I can do, I can try to store something. Obviously there are different kinds of cross-site scripting attack, and those things I will share a video with you guys on the group, from where you can know what cross-site scripting, or various kinds of cross-site scripting attacks are. But yeah, so this is how we solve the first challenge. Let's move on to one more. Let's try to solve one more challenge, and we'll call the session off for today. So over here we have the same thing. Let's try the same old, sorry, uh, this thing. Let's see if it works actually. So now if you see, it didn't pop you anything, right? It didn't, because possibly there are a couple of, sometimes all these alert tags doesn't really work. You need to have some more information, so what content are being provided, and based upon that more sophisticated attacks can be done. So let me just quickly solve this challenge, and I can just type something like I don't know, um, something, and let me write some HTML code, HTML, and then all, obviously I'm gonna include some JavaScript as well. Image source, some, I don't know, test. Okay, obviously it doesn't really matter because we are not uploading any image. And then I'm gonna say, if there is an error, I am going to pop up alert. The reason why it didn't happen here, because already the JavaScript code is getting executed, and I'm just adding one more execution command. So let's just type this XSS. Yeah, I think it should be done. Did we manage to? Did we manage to? What did happen? I don't know. Let's try it something again. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I guess like I must have missed something, and I managed to pop up XSS, and this is how I solved this challenge. So yeah, more or less like the more or less then you can actually go on solving level 3, level 4, level 5. There I guess like 6 levels there. Yeah, there are 6 levels. So try to solve the rest 4 level. Obviously the challenges have been mentioned, and I'm just gonna write the solution. Let's see, so that you guys know how to solve the, I am not sure if I just yeah, I guess yeah, that's it. That was it. So yeah, this is all about the cross-site scripting attack. I know I have made it quick, haven't covered a lot of basic things, but then again we have time restrictions here. um, so any questions so far? Don't worry about the concept of cross-site scripting attack. I am going to share one more video of cross-site scripting attack in the group, from where you can actually go and see the concept of the concept that how we have managed to bypass and pop up that query. Any questions so far? If you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask. Or if you guys have any more questions, you guys can then again obviously go back and ask me on the Telegram channel. Okay. Just see. Okay, fine. So if there's no more question, then let's stop this class here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share this video obviously with you guys after the after processing of the video. I'm gonna share it hopefully by tonight. At the same time, I'm gonna also share the video of cross-site